welcome to another episode of the Spiritual Investor Podcast. This one is a little bit different. I am in New York for podcast interviews, actually. And right now I'm in a jazz club at the bottom of a hotel I'm staying at. And it's during the day, so they don't have the jazz going on. But I just thought it would be a really great, quiet place to connect with everyone. And this has been such an incredible trip. Um, the the interview that I did yesterday, we talked a lot about the dimension of money and the nonlinear aspect, and how part of what keeps us stuck in money is the belief that it is linear. Because when we believe it's linear, then we have an expectation that it is linear. And one of the things that came up that Lindsay, who I just absolutely adore, I think you guys will really like this podcast episode. It's on Almost 30, and she had mentioned the times where you feel like you have money, and then there are times where you feel like you don't have money. And then, is that cyclical in nature? What is going on with that? Why does that happen? I think that there's a destabilization that we try and avoid within our lives just in general. Like when we start to feel emotional, or, even the people around us that we love that start to feel emotional, and then we step into maybe trying to be responsible for even their emotions. There's this feeling that we have where it's like our job or something to keep everything calm and peaceful. And when it is, then that equates to success. And it's one of those things where if we really look back, we're not bothered by the variable nature of our lives, especially if that's resulted in something that has brought money to us or joy or something like that. We don't care about that, which means that if we look back on something and we don't care about it, then is the illusion having something to do with the connection with time? So is there that uncomfortable nature when we go down to, oh no, maybe I'm not making as much money this month? Why is it that if you're not making money that month, why does it mean you're not making money? Because actually, if you really look, that in itself is a lie, because you are making money. And everything is a match according to the state of allowing, whether it's love, whether it's money, whether it's health, anything is all. Abundance is here and now. Abundance is completely around us. And when we become the magnet for abundance, then abundance comes in. It's like I talk about money neutrality being the void. And so the money and even the other things, like the conversations, like the people that we meet that are going to indirectly result in money, right? Anything, it's going to come in. And so the only thing that we're really doing is increasing our state of allowing. And one of the things that I see is that people feel like they need to maintain and fix their relationship with money, when in fact you shouldn't even have a relationship with money. There's really no such thing. Money contains the energy of you. And so any type of relationship would be a disconnect from you. So if you have a relationship, then it has something to do with a part that you're trying to fix. When I'm in a loving relationship, it feels so at ease that it's just like I almost forget that there's anything else. It's just like that person is just a part of my world and who I am. there's nothing to do. And so when we're in something, there's nothing to do. And so how can you bring the energy down of money into the 3D world, which we equate with doing, but that's only like because we've been conditioned to believe that. The 3D world isn't necessarily doing, the 3D world is contrast. And we can be in contrast and notice it and not be doing anything. And the game here, if you will, is to be in the contrast and but only be entangled to the degree that you are getting the lesson. Now, part of me wants to say and not be entangled, but so what if you are? So what if, I'm here in this jazz club. I started the trip 6 days ago, down here at night listening to jazz and with some people that were really special to me. And so what if there's conversations going on around me that I got entangled in? Maybe there are, maybe there aren't. It's when we make a problem out of something that it becomes something that takes our energy. And when I walked into that podcast interview yesterday, all I felt was the warmth of Lindsay when, she's standing there and we hugged. And that opens the discovery of her resonance, which then she has a deep resonance with her audience. And so all I was doing, if you will, is just being in the energy of her and then being in the energy of the audience. And it does sometimes become even a little bit challenging. Like we've got like the production manager, walking around and explaining lighting and explaining audio. And I remember something came up and I was thinking, I don't care about that. But then at the same time, I thought, but this is what he needs to share. This is his life. This is what's important to him. And it brought me back to, we're all operating out of this, our singular worlds that's kind of like radiating out. And we all think that whatever we have going on is the most important thing in the moment. When in fact, we're all just part of a co-creation. We're just all part of this fabric. And things really shifted on that podcast yesterday. I know that some things shifted for Lindsay, things shifted for me, on a cellular level. And that's something that I'm seeing more and more, and that I'm receiving back in terms of messages is, and I think this is probably going on with all of us, but I'll just use myself as an example, is that one of the reasons we're hosting the first Spiritual Investor private event coming up in April. It's going to be in San Luis Obispo, California, is that I'm seeing that whether you say it's this work or what's coming through, it is shifting people on a cellular level. And it is the collaboration element of myself and them. And I am seeing that this is really, really exponentially magnified in person. That's why I like to come up and, do these podcast interviews in person. Well, some of them you have to, but even myself with this, I'm going to start doing more in studio stuff with other people, because aren't we craving that to a certain degree? Like, aren't we craving going vertical and having a deeper connection? Because isn't that what makes us feel outside of time? And when we're outside of time, do we really even need anything? I mean, I don't know. When I was sitting down here in this jazz club and I'm just relishing in the beginning of this wonderful trip, I can't really say I needed anything, you know? And those are the moments when we have the greatest state of allowing. Ironically, when we don't need anything, we're allowing in more. So what I'd really like to invite you into is, if you're looking at the, let's say, 15 things you have going on in your life right now, and you're saying, okay, how can I make more money? Because that's what most people are saying. Realize that that's the old version of you that's saying, how can I make more money? The moment that you say, how can I do anything, is the exact moment that you stop learning, because how can I do something is from the old self. There's not a lot of curiosity that exists inside of how can I do something, because there's a neediness that exists inside of that. Switch that to, what if I did this? What would it be like if this? Where is the state of allowing in which I'm more curious about meeting and discovering that new version of me instead of getting what I want? Because you're going to get what you want regardless, because everything's coming to you as a match. You're just sometimes unclear about what you're asking for, because you're asking for a lot of the things from an aspect of lack. So you've got your ideas in your mind. I want, a $10 million year. And then you've got your way of being, which is, I don't have that yet. So you're getting you're getting what you want anyways. It's just you don't realize that what you want is that I don't have that yet. So you might as well break the structure with all of it and get into a space of, well, who will I be on the other side of that when I'm doing something completely new and quote unquote scary, or completely outside and beyond the realms of what I think I would have done for money. An example would be, do you want to be a billionaire? Okay, so what's important is what comes up for you when you think of, like, when that goes energetically into your system, do you want to be a billionaire? For me, I ask that so that I can discover what's standing in the way of me being a billionaire. Because why wouldn't I want to be a billionaire? If someone gave me $1 billion, I would take it. And I feel like that I would just exponentially be more of myself. But then why would I not be exponentially more of myself now? Why would I not be that version who already has the $1 billion? What is it that's telling me that I can't, shouldn't, or won't be that version? Like, what is that limiting factor? That's all we're doing here, is figuring out the limiting factors from a place of noticing them and being curious and going, wow, that's fascinating. So I always say, take one thing, take 10 things, take an exponential number of things if you got from whatever you got here. But in my view and from my experience, it's been much more useful to get grounded and go vertically within on one thing and just discover the hell out of it. Discover how it looks on you like a new outfit, rather than go out and try and do all the things. So connect with me on Instagram. Connect with me in the DMs. I want to know what's coming up from you. I want to know where you are. A question that I always ask in the mastermind is, where are you energetically? That's kind of my version of, hi, how are you? I remember as a kid, I used to think, God, why do people say, hi, how are you? Like, it just seemed like kind of a waste of space, So where are you energetically? Like, can we start speaking in our own energetic signatures? Can we get to know each other like that? Can we practice and live into that new language that we're stepping into in the new paradigm? Because the new paradigm, nothing actually exists until we discover it. Thanks for being here with me in New York in this kind of strange room. Thanks for being with me on this journey. All right. See you on the next episode.